You know that amazing feeling you get walking barefoot on a beach or through a grassy park? Well, it turns out there's some really fascinating science behind that feeling. And it suggests we might have overlooked one of the simplest and maybe most profound health discoveries ever. Okay, let's dive right in.
First, let me throw a pretty staggering number at you. 75%. Yeah, research shows that's the slice of healthcare spending in the US that goes toward dealing with chronic diseases. That's a huge problem, and it makes you ask a big question. What if we're missing something really fundamental about why we're all getting so sick?
And that question leads us to a really compelling idea about our modern lives. For all our incredible technology, have we accidentally cut ourselves off from a critical connection with the Earth itself? Let's explore that. Just look at the difference here. For pretty much all of human history, we were in constant physical contact with the ground. We walked barefoot, or maybe with some simple leather moccasins that could still conduct energy. We slept on the ground. And today? Well, we live in insulated houses and we walk around in shoes with rubber and plastic soles. Basically, we've wrapped ourselves in materials that completely block our connection to the earth. And listen, this isn't some brand new New Age idea. This is ancient wisdom. As the Sioux tribal leader Luther Standing Bear said, there was this deep understanding that touching the earth was healing, that it was soothing and strengthening. And now, modern science is actually starting to figure out why he was so right. Now, take a look at this. This chart is, wow. It shows two lines that have been climbing almost perfectly together since the 1950s, the explosion of shoes with synthetic soles and the explosion in diabetes. Now, of course, correlation doesn't prove causation, we know that, but it's so striking. It really makes you wonder, could this insulation from the earth be a missing piece of the puzzle in our modern health crisis? To understand what might be going on, we have to stop thinking of the ground as just dirt and rock and start seeing it as an electrical system. And this is where the science gets really, really cool. So the key idea here is called earthing, or you might hear it called grounding. And it's super simple. It's just the act of your body making direct contact with the Earth's surface. Think of it like plugging yourself back into the planet. So how does this work? Well, the Earth's surface has this natural negative electrical charge. It's constantly being recharged by solar energy and thousands of lightning strikes that happen every single minute around the globe. This creates this massive, planet-sized reservoir of what are called free electrons. And when you stand barefoot, your body, which is basically a big bag of conductive water and minerals, can just soak these electrons right up. Here's probably the easiest way to picture it. The Earth is basically a gigantic, rechargeable battery. And for most of our modern lives, thanks to our shoes and our houses, we've become completely and totally unplugged from this natural source of energy. So, what actually happens inside our bodies when we plug back in? Well, the scientific studies, even in their early stages, are showing some pretty compelling, measurable effects. Okay, let's start with stress and sleep. These charts show the levels of cortisol, that's our main stress hormone, over a 24-hour period. On the left, before grounding, you can see the patterns are all over the place. But look at the chart on the right. After people slept on a grounded sheet, their cortisol rhythms totally normalized. They lined up with the natural cycle, peaking in the morning to give you energy and dropping at night so you can get deep, restful sleep. Okay, now this is maybe the most dramatic visual of all. On the left, you're looking at red blood cells that are all clumped up and sticky. That's a major factor in bad circulation and heart health. But on the right, and get this is after just 2 hours of grounding. Look at that difference. The cells have spread out, they're flowing freely. The theory is that the negative electrons from the Earth give each cell a stronger negative charge, so they literally push each other away, like tiny magnets. So, what does that mean for your body? It's absolutely crucial. It means your blood becomes less thick, less sludgy. This allows it to flow way more easily, improving your circulation and helping deliver oxygen and nutrients to every single cell in your body. But now, let's get to what might be the biggest benefit of all: inflammation. We hear that word all the time, right? And for good reason. Chronic inflammation is at the root of almost every single major chronic disease you can think of. Here's a simple way to understand the theory. Your body naturally creates these unstable molecules called free radicals. You can think of them like tiny, damaging sparks that bounce around, causing damage to your healthy cells. Well, the Earth, with its massive supply of free electrons, acts like an endless supply of water to safely put out those sparks before they can start a fire. And you can see how that works right here.
Mr. Shoes is ungrounded. When he gets an injury, his immune response can actually damage healthy tissue nearby with all those free radical sparks, which slows down healing. But Mr. Barefoot, he's grounded, so free electrons can flood the area right away, neutralizing those extra sparks and protecting the healthy tissue.
And here's some incredible visual proof. These are medical infrared images, which basically show heat. And heat is a sign of inflammation. The red and yellow areas up top show a ton of inflammation in a patient's legs. The bottom images, that's the same patient after just 4 nights of sleeping grounded. You can literally see the heat, the inflammation, has dramatically cooled down. Okay, so the theory is compelling. The evidence is visible. So the next logical question is, what can we do about it? How do we actually put this into practice? The potential payoff for this incredibly simple act is huge. Just to recap, the research points to a whole range of benefits, from reducing chronic pain and improving sleep, to lowering stress and fighting the very inflammation that's at the heart of so many of our health problems. And the most beautiful thing about all of this is that the most powerful way to get these benefits doesn't require any expensive gadgets or special supplements. Nope. It's actually the most ancient and natural method you could possibly imagine. That's it. To simply take off your shoes and walk barefoot on the earth. It connects your body directly to the planet's energy. And it's probably easier to do than you think. Grass, dirt, and sand are fantastic. Even unsealed concrete can work. The research suggests trying to get at least 30 minutes in a day to start seeing the benefits. And of course, just be smart about it. Watch where you're stepping. And if you have any cuts on your feet or you're concerned, it's never a bad idea to make sure you're up to date on your tetanus shot. All of this really leaves us with one final big question to think about. In our search for super complex, high-tech solutions for our health, what other simple, powerful discoveries have we just overlooked simply because they're too ancient and too natural? I'd really encourage you to give it a try. See for yourself how you feel. If you found this deep dive into the science of grounding helpful, please do us a huge favor and support the channel by subscribing, liking this explainer, and turning on those notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching.